Hello and welcome to another episode of the Eunice Ajim Show. I am your host, Eunice Ajim, and I think this episode is going to be more of a conversation, more than just me giving talking points or like just being super educative. I'm having a conversation with some of my audience in the room. And we're just discussing about if myself as an investor, if it actually bothers me when all these, I like to call them tech bros, that's like universal, go out there and decide to focus, let's say specifically just on fintech, because that's a sexy thing right now in Africa. You know that if you're building in fintech, there's a high chance that you will find at least some sort of investor that might be interested in giving you money. And it's not necessarily because you're really passionate about fixing the problem. It's just because you're like, I'm doing this my media tech and it's not working. Nobody's giving me funding, 100,000 grants. Let me go and do fintech too so that I'll get at least some money. And instead of all of these founders doing this or fixing or creating and building all of these companies, there are actual problems that we're facing on a daily basis on the continent that maybe we could focus more on. I think that's the best way of like asking your question. I'll say it's two of them. The first one is, I think God, and I always say God, right? Because like I'm a big firm believer on like just God gives you a gift, right? Which becomes your passion. And then the gift you give back to God is how you actually walk or act on that passion or that vision that He has given to you. I think for me as a venture capital investor, I mean, over the weekend, I got pitched a jewelry business. I got pitched a school that is focused on teaching kids STEM skills. I will not invest in that. It's a great mission. She's solving an actual problem. She's putting our kids of tomorrow into the right branches, into the right field so that they can be successful tomorrow, but it's not my area of expertise. It's not what I'm interested in. I will not invest in that. This guy pitched me a customized jewelry brand where he packaged the jewelries and put it in a way that makes you look different, whatever he was selling, right? I got pitched, I don't know, like a luxury retreat, a place where you can come and experience the luxury in Africa, right? All great businesses, not just my forte. So does it bother me that these tech founders, or at least founders, are building tech-focused businesses instead of like focusing on the infrastructural roads or like real estate or agribusinesses, right? Like things that might actually make a big difference in the life of the average African. I mean, even this founder that pitched her idea, you guys are making fun of like the banking, the unbank, but her whole business is around helping women in the market, right, that don't have access to smartphones, will probably get a credit request denied from the bank, maybe because it's so much of a smaller loan, maybe because she doesn't have a credit history, maybe, like all of these different things. In Nigeria, in Cameroon, in not South Africa, in Rwanda, in Ghana, all of us have markets. We all know that we have markets with our moms, like with their papas, right? Like selling tomatoes or selling XYZ, like that's given. There's so many African markets that have that market. But do I think it's a business that I'll be interested in getting in right now? Probably not, but she's solving a real problem. You understand what I mean? So I don't think it bothers me that they're focusing on those technology. And I made a comment earlier. I said that my friend Vusi, I mean, I guess for him, it bothers him a little bit, right? Because he was just saying that in today's world, we're seeing a lot of like young Africans building apps, right? For maybe something that they have seen worked in the US or in other developed markets that might not even be super like a need or a painkiller, maybe just be a want when they have poverty challenges. Many African markets are still third world countries. But I pick my battle, right? I know that God has put a vision into somebody else's heart, right? To worry about the road infrastructure, to worry about the real estate needs, to worry about the agribusinesses, to worry about those moms in the market. It's not just my vision. Does it hurt me? Yeah. 2 weeks before I came to Cameroon and then Nigeria, I was watching this Instagram video of this guy, like he's on his phone and then he goes to like some of the poorest areas in Lagos. I mean, they're not very far. I mean, the bridge separates us, right? Like there's the mainland that is actually good. It's okay. And then there's Victoria Island that is like better. And then in between we have exactly. And that is really bad, right? And he was pretty much going to these swamps and then showing videos of like women with 5 kids living in a little, I don't even know what I would call it, right? Underwater, there's a hole and there's a newborn baby sleeping next to this hole that the water is right. I'm like, if the baby moves, the baby's in the water. Like there things fall in there, and like I cried watching those videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we say that we have challenges. Like I have my challenges, but like, gosh, like I don't have that kind of challenges. I don't think I've ever been in that situation ever. It hurts me. And which is the reason why when I was coming to Nigeria, I told my husband, I'm like, spare extra money because I will not abuse anybody. Like I will help. Like our volunteers, we pay them, even though they were volunteers, right? Like every taxi man or anybody that I've encountered with, I always give them more money than they ask me. Because that's my little part that I can do, but it's not like my purpose and it's not my vision. Over time, right? Like obviously I'm not a multi-millionaire, you know, I don't make like crazy amounts of money, but over time, maybe in Naira I might be a millionaire, but a I like it's given, but not in well, okay, maybe I'll take that back. But I'm not Aliko Dangote, right? Like I don't make that kind of money. I don't have that kind of resources on my back. But I know that over time, as I continue to build my companies, I want to figure out ways to just like help as many for me, it's like founders, it's entrepreneurs. I think like that was my vision that God gave me. It's like, I see thousands and thousands of like businesses ideas on a daily basis. I can only invest in a very small amount, but I could create platforms and resources to support those founders that might not be a tech business, right? It might just be like a regular business that is helping somebody get from, you know, maybe making that 50,000 Naira a month to like 500,000 Naira a month. And if I can get them to that stage, now they have a better place where they live. Now they have a better, you know, like they can maybe even send their kids to like better school. They can get outside of like where they live and they can now have access to better healthcare. Like for me, and like empowering those entrepreneurs, and I'm not just giving them money and they can go and, you know, blow it at a club on the weekend. I'm giving them the capital to be able to like improve their business and bring more employees and get from one stage to the other, like, and provide them with the resources to be able to get to that stage. It's challenging. I mean, even in the US, there are poor people. I was in San Francisco. If I show you the pictures, you will not believe it's the US. I was in San Francisco a couple of weeks before coming to Nigeria, and it had been at least a couple of months since I had gone to San Francisco, and there were homeless people, like sleeping on the street, people doing drugs, going crazy. Like that, just like you go into every market and you just see things and like you have to pick your battles. Yeah, we don't do NGOs. Like if you see maybe a VC commit to an NGO, a non-profit organization, there's typically, it's rare but there are typically ways where you can create a foundation. Like, for example, like, I don't know, maybe in a couple of years, I might create like Ajim Foundation, right? Where it's like a sister company of Ajim Capital, but it's not a venture capital fund. It's a non-profit that is focused on just helping people without expecting any return on an investment. That you might see, but I don't think you would take venture capital money and go and invest in a non-profit. So the question is, first, should everybody be a founder, right? Like, should everybody be a founder? And then secondly is, when you're still young and you're getting outside of, like, you're out of college, you're still fresh, you know, should you enjoy yourself, or should you go into business and launch a company? Because launching a company is very stressful. The first question that I'm going to answer is absolutely not. Everybody can be a founder. We will always have employees and we'll always have founders. If everybody was a founder, then we'll be the employee. There's also like a difference between a founder and even a CEO, right? Like, founders typically have amazing ideas. They're visionaries. They can say things. But then there are also founders that are really bad at business. Like, they don't know how to manage people. They don't know how to like manage stress. They don't know how to like grow a team. They don't know how to like market their business, but they have amazing ideas. So not everybody should be a founder, because if everybody was a founder, then like we'll be working for those founders. That's just a given. There'll always be a leader, and there'll always be shepherds. I don't even know if that's the right way of saying it, but somebody always has to lead a company for people to like go towards the right direction. And employees are just as much needed as founders. In fact, the path that I took, and I'll go into my personal journey leading to both questions. I think I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, right? Like, I think I was born an entrepreneur. Like, and I knew that from like being a baby, like very young age, when like all my siblings knew that like when they would give me my pocket money, right, I would not eat it. And then I would save. And then like at the end of the week or the month, I'll go and like buy candy and biscuit in like bulk, and then I'll go sell it. And it's not because like I didn't have enough money. I just enjoyed making more money. And then I'll go sell it to my classmates, make more money, get the profit, buy like nice clothes. Like, when they cook something in my house that I don't like, I'll go and like buy roasted fish, come sit in front of my siblings and eat in front of them on purpose. Make sure they know who is the leader. And because of that and that arrogance, I was being beaten a lot. Like, my siblings were always like whooping me. But I just always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, I grew up with an entrepreneurial dad, like nothing crazy, small business, buy and sell 'em. My dad did not even go to school. Like, he's not educated. He does not even have high school degree. In fact, he did not even like finish class 1, like class 5, class 6. He was in the village. He started selling stuff, raised enough money to like go to the city, started working for one of his brothers. They raised enough money to buy his own watches and was carrying them on his head around the market, selling them, raised enough money to maybe transition into phones, and then from phones to small TVs, and then from that to like going to like abroad to like Japan and all of these places, and I bound things in bulk, coming back, opening 1 store and then 2 stores and then 3 stores and then 4 stores. And before I realized other opportunities came, like he started getting a lot into real estate. He started buying a lot of land. And I think I've always like during the summer, I'll go to the store with him. I'll learn how to sell. And I think like I mentioned that I read a lot of books, but I think the reason why I can read people a lot is just because I've learned that from a young age. Like, if somebody's hesitant in buying something, like, you know the right things to tell them. If they tell you a price, I know how to negotiate. Right? Like, there's always like a little bit of all of that I grew up being surrounded by, just somebody that is such an entrepreneurial mindset. And when I moved to the US, finished school, like anybody, we were all looking for jobs, because as a student in the US, as an international student, you have to get a job, right? I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go get a job. I don't think I can be an entrepreneur in the US. Like, my dreams are ruined. But also, even the fact that I got a job, as soon as I started working, I was like, this is not for me. Like, there's no way I'm going to become a billionaire if I have this regular job. And I always said that. I've always said that. And then the day that I will actually become a billionaire, I'll be like, I've always said that. There's no way I was going to become a billionaire having a regular job. And I just think even though I pretty much worked for Apple for about a year and a few months, and then I quit that job and I just went straight into entrepreneurship, I don't think it stopped me from still having fun. And I think the misconception that we have as younger generation is that we need to go and build the experience, and then in that time we can have our regular salary and we can just enjoy life, right? We can go clubbing every weekend. I was clubbing every weekend, right? But then I wake up hangover, throw up, and then get on my bench, right, on that Saturday, and then I walk throughout the day because I know I had to hustle. But I also knew that I would never be 21 again. I would never be 22 again. I would never be 19 again. I would never have the energy to wake up, wake up at 4 a.m., go work out, hustle all day, party all night, wake up the next day, repeat. You know what I mean? I'm turning 28 in 2 months, and I just sat here and I'm like, my back hurts, I have migraines, you know what I mean? I can't do all of the things that I was doing when I was younger. But I don't think that should stop you from pursuing your dreams. If being an employee is what you think is best for you, go for it. But if you're somebody that enjoys party, turn up. If you're a Christian and you don't believe in that, that's totally okay, right? Stay home, read your Bible, watch your movie. It's okay. That's what makes you happy. But you have to find a balance. I'm all about work hard but play harder, right? I want to have fun, but I also want to work hard for my money. So I don't think I would advise people to say that they just want to enjoy life. I think you can do both with the right balance. And when you're young, you don't have kids, you're not married, you don't have a mortgage. In the US, we buy homes on mortgage. You don't have a home that you have to worry if something breaks, I need to fix it. You're still young, right? That's the best time to enjoy your life. Now, before I leave my house, I travel a lot for work, but my husband knows everywhere I am. I'm like, okay, babe, I'm heading to the studio now, and then I'll take a picture and saying, I miss you, right? I have to update him. If I'm not right now, you see, just talking of, right? He just messaged me, how's the recording going? I can't just wake up and go do whatever I want. And I'm not saying that being in a relationship and being married is a bad thing. In fact, it's a great thing when you're trying to build, because at least you can have somebody that has a stable income, and then you can be the entrepreneur that can take risks, put yourself out there and hope for the best. But I don't think there's an age for anything. I think, in fact, when you're young, that's the best time to take as much risk as possible, but also understand there's a balance. You still have to live life, and you will never be young again. And you have to make sure that you remember that we don't want to get to your 50s and 60s and say, man, I wish I traveled more, or I wish I did more when I was younger. I don't think I have that regret. Thank you so much for tuning in into this podcast. I hope you learn at least 1 or 2 things. And until next time, I hope that you are living the best version of your African dream. Have a blessed day.